Welcome, everyone, to part two of the 2014 Coaches Conference held at the Minneapolis Crowne Plaza West on Saturday, January 11th, 2014. If you don't know yet, trap shooting is Minnesota's fastest growing high school sport, and when compared against other activities and sports with the Minnesota State High School League since 2010, trap shooting has doubled in participation every year for the past 3 years. Not only has participation in the league increased dramatically, but also the revenue that it brings in for the shooting sports industry. So when you look at investing in kids, that pays dividends for Minnesota. The Clay Target League has developed more than 4,100 athletes that contribute to the lifetime target shooting and hunting expenditures for shooting sports. And each student athlete starting shooting sports at the age of 16 will invest more than $75,000 into those expenditures, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services survey a few years ago. That means that the Clay Target League has invested more than $308 million into the shooting and hunting industry in Minnesota. So, what are some of the critical success components for this organization that makes it so successful? Obviously, in order to have anything work, is we need to have a formalized league, and Minnesota State High School League, Clay Target League, helps us do that. The league isn't in existence without the gun clubs that help support it. And with the gun clubs comes the coaches that helps the many teams that are in the league and helps the students participate in the shooting sports and teaching them firearm safety and sports. Obviously, you can't have students without the parents and their support to do that. And where do you find all this? You find it at the schools. And so as you can see, as each one of these gears and components are critical success, that they turn in sync to make sure that we provide the most exciting experience possible for the kids. So if you thought 2013 was a great year, 2014 is going to be even greater yet. And why is that? Let's look at some of the highlights that Minnesota offers in 2014. This year, we're going to have more athletes, volunteers, schools, teams, and gun clubs. And we'll talk about some of those numbers shortly. We're also going to see an easier and more comprehensive athlete registration process, which will make it easier for parents to get their kids registered in addition to helping coaches manage their teams. We've also installed a improved scoring system this year that will really provide an exciting experience for the kids, because it allows each student athlete performance measuring tools that they can use to set goals to watch their performance throughout the league. These tools are also in place to help the coaches help these student athletes set those goals and contribute to the team. We've also added classes in addition to our previous conferences and teams this year, and you'll see a demonstration about how that will work later. Obviously, the Minnesota State High School Clay Target League State Tournament is going to be even bigger and better yet this year, and we have some exciting news about that. And Minnesota State High School League's State Tournament. So this becomes the first and only State High School Athletic Association in the country to host a trap shooting tournament this coming year. So the league keeps going and going and going. And so when we look at comparisons from 2008 until what we estimate for 2014, our number of student athletes are going from 30 to 5,000 athletes this year. Our schools will go from 3 to 275. Our teams will go from 3 to 165. The gun club's hosting teams in 2008 was 1, and this year we expect more than 90. Our volunteers have gone from 3 in 2008 to more than 1,200 that are expected this year. Our state tournament participants are expected at 3,200. And the league will shoot more than 3 million targets this year. So far, we have 44 new teams that have joined the league this year. As stated earlier, we still have more than 95 high school teams that have inquired about joining the league. In addition to what you see in teams here, there are additional teams that are awaiting school board approvals and going through those proper procedures to make sure that they can make it in order for the 2014 season. As we stated earlier, if a team doesn't participate this year, they're going to have to wait until 2015 to get into the league. So that's terrific news for all these teams joining us. Our policies and procedures, the key points for 2014. Teams can schedule up to 2 days to shoot. That's the same as last year to allow for accommodations for growing teams and gun clubs. Scores must be submitted by 9 p.m. the following day of your scheduled shoot. So if you shoot at Tuesday, those scores need to be in by 9 p.m. on Wednesday. Non-submitted scores receive a 0 score, so it is critically important to make sure that your scores are input and everything is in before 9 o'clock on Saturday nights. Reserve weeks are only used for entire teams. That means individuals cannot utilize their reserve weeks. There's no registration forms needed to be signed this year, so everything is done with an electronic signature through the athlete registration process. There are no makeup rounds for scores allowed. Just like baseball, if you miss the game, you're not allowed to make up that game. The same happens for the trap shooting team, that you need to participate with the team. Athletes must shoot with their team to do that. There's no cooperative forms for a league that are required. If a participant wants to join another team, the athletic directors of those two teams just simply need to agree. If they don't already have a cooperative form in sports participations. And then lastly, the $25 per athlete registration fee, that is the same as last year. So when we look at league, conference, team, and classes, this year, which is a little bit different than last, is we are going to have 4 different classes. And the classes will contain different conferences. Our Class 1A will be smaller, the smallest of conferences within the league. Class 2A will be larger in their conferences. Class 3A and Class 4A will be our largest class that will contain the largest conferences and the largest teams. This way allows us to better manage team sizes based on that and state tournament. Our coach and volunteer insurance is again in place for this year. We provide a commercial general liability policy that includes various levels of insurance for these particular categories. There are additional benefits that go with that. It's important that coach and volunteer names must be included in your team management system prior to March 30th. And it's also, all of this is included with league participation with no cost to the coaches or volunteers. Declaration pages of an insurance summary will be sent to the coaches and be available to them to review. In addition to the coaches insurance, we also offer student athlete insurance. This is an accident insurance policy that comes with many benefits that occur with that. This is deployed after benefits have been paid by other family health care plans. And again, names must be included within your team's team management system prior to March 30th. And this too is included with league participation, and declaration pages are available to summarize those insurance policies. There's important upcoming dates this year. Athlete registration started January 13th, and that goes until March 15th. March 1st is the last day for team commitments to the league deadline. So if you're a new team, please make sure that you're committed to the league by March 1st. March 20th, fees are due to the league, and those are the participation registration fees from the student athletes. March 30th, the practice weeks begin. Our reserve week is 3 weeks after that, where the reserve week is used for scores that need to be used during canceled events during the season. We go for 5 weeks of competition weeks. The last week is a fun week where many teams try skeet or barbecues and other fun events. The league ends on the 31st, and our Clay Target League's tournament is June 6th through 9th, and the Minnesota State High School League's tournament is June 14th, which is a Saturday. So thank you for our Part 2 participation. We appreciate the help of the coaches, parents, schools, and student athletes. And please check in for Part 3 of our next session. Thank you.